Are you thinking about moving to North Atlanta, Georgia, and not sure if you want to go to Cumming or Alpharetta? Well, you picked two of the best suburbs north of the city. They are very similar and they are neighboring cities, but they are also very different in their own ways. And today we're going to talk about those key differences. So before you pick up and decide to move to North Atlanta, Georgia, this is a video that you must watch.
Alpharetta and Cumming are both two great suburbs located north of the city of Atlanta. We talked about a lot of similarities and differences, and they actually border each other and have a lot of the same great features, but the location is going to be a big factor. We are talking about people who need to drive down to Atlanta or to the airport, and Alpharetta is going to be much closer than Cumming, especially if you're in the north area of Cumming.
I always like to say, if you picture yourself, sitting in traffic 5 days a week, driving down to Midtown for work, or maybe Atlanta, or maybe travel to the airport for work or visit family a lot, Alpharetta might be a better choice only because you're a little bit closer. Cumming, Georgia isn't that much further, probably additional 20 minutes. But if you work from home or you work remote, then maybe that's not a big deal. But if you picture yourself 5 days a week, sitting in traffic, going down Georgia 400, Alpharetta is definitely going to be a better choice, I would say. We've had clients reach out and always ask, hey, what, should we live in Cumming or should we live in Alpharetta? What makes more sense? And we always like to reference back to what is your lifestyle like, because that's really going to change everything for your decision.
Yeah, you need to know if you're commuting or not. The great thing about Alpharetta is it is located right off 400, same with Cumming. So it is a direct shot north and south to get down there. But like Robert said, it's going to be a lot more miles and a lot more time in the car if you are someone who commutes. We are talking about Forsyth County versus Fulton County, which we'll also touch on in a little bit about taxes and schools, but that is definitely going to be adding on another 30 to 40 minutes of your drive if you are choosing Cumming, which is north of Alpharetta.
Now, location. So whenever we talk about location, that's always going to change the price point. So when we compare the cost of homes in Cumming, Georgia versus Alpharetta, once again, it goes back to your lifestyle and what matches what you're looking for. But there is definitely a significant difference between what you get in Cumming and what you get in Alpharetta. And we're going to talk about that right now.
Pricing between Alpharetta and Cumming are going to be significantly different. Like Rob said, it's all about location. Alpharetta is the prime location. You get this small town feel, but with a city vibe out here without having to drive to Atlanta like we were talking about. So the home prices are going to be higher. I would say mid price out here is gonna start at $800,000. And in Cumming, you can start around $550. So there's definitely a huge price difference in the homes that you get, and it's all about that location that is driving up those prices. In Alpharetta here, the neighborhoods are more established. So Rob, why don't you touch on that about new construction and homes that we see in this area in Alpharetta?
So in Alpharetta, you have more of that walkability. So the closer you are to the downtown area, the Avalon or the Alpharetta main area, the home prices are going to be more. So $1 million might get you a condo versus if you go up to Cumming, Georgia, and it's only 20 minutes north, you can get a home, right on the lake for $1 million. You can also get new construction that are 4,000, 5,000 square feet in a subdivision for $1 million. So your price and your dollar stretches a little bit further in Cumming, Georgia. But once again, it goes back to that lifestyle. If you picture yourself on a Friday night getting cocktails, listening to live music, and doing rooftop bars, then Alpharetta is gonna be more of your vibe, but that also comes with a price point. So you have to take that into consideration. Now, if you imagine yourself with more of that slow down lifestyle where the kids are playing baseball on a Saturday morning, and then maybe you want to jump out to the lake and enjoy the Saturday afternoon on the lake, and then maybe go get some family barbecue at one of the local spots in Cumming, Georgia, then Cumming, Georgia is definitely going to, fit you a little bit better. But doesn't mean you can't do that in Alpharetta, because Lake Lanier is only 25 minutes. So we talk to people all the time who are relocating, and they really just talk about their lifestyle and what they're looking at. And then from there, we can pinpoint you in a best location that would match what you're looking for.
Yeah, our client the other week really wanted new construction, and because Alpharetta's pretty well developed already, there's really not a lot of choices for new construction here in Alpharetta because the land has already been developed. There's not a lot of space left. I want to say there's about maybe 10 to 15 new communities being built, and most of them are going to be condos or townhomes, and this particular family wanted a single family home with a good sized backyard. That was not going to be happening in Alpharetta right now in new construction. But we drove them up to Cumming, and there's, what do we still have? About 40 new construction sites going on right now. We've toured a ton of these neighborhoods. You can check them out on some of our other videos, but there's a lot more variety, a lot more choices. If you're looking for new construction, then this is not going to be the best spot. Alpharetta doesn't have as much new construction going on, and that price point is going to be higher than getting new construction in Cumming, Georgia.
Now, both of these suburbs being north of the city, they're both fantastic locations because anytime you got good schools, you're going to have good resale, good equity, and Alpharetta and Cumming both have fantastic schools. So if that is something that is important to you because you have kids, well then fantastic. But if you don't have kids, that is still something to pay attention to because that's going to be your equity 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, or maybe 20 years down the road when your kids are taking over the house. So it really does change the value of the home. So we always like to tell clients, if you're shopping for a home and you want good equity and good resale value, as long as you buy within a good school district or a good school zone, you're probably going to be pretty safe. And then as Amber mentioned, whenever there's new construction and there's development and lively things going on in Alpharetta or Cumming, you know that's another good equity standpoint because whenever they're building new construction, there is something happening there. If the city is not growing, it's dying. And both these cities are definitely growing.
One of the main reasons people are looking at Alpharetta and Cumming, Georgia is because of the school districts.
Top-rated school districts, that is.
We have a lot of families that want to make sure that their kids are placed in a great school district if they're making a huge move. We had a family coming from a northeastern state recently, and they were deciding between these two suburbs, and they asked us, well, which one has a better school district? And to be honest, this is one of the similarities between these two suburbs. They both have excellent school districts. You are talking Fulton County and Forsyth County, but the schools in Alpharetta are top rated, and they've been that way for years.
You have Cambridge, you have Milton High, you have Alpharetta High. They have great programs, great academics, and also really good extracurriculars. Now, doesn't mean Cumming, Georgia doesn't have that. They too have that, but they're in Forsyth County, which Forsyth County was ranked number 3 in the entire state of Georgia when it comes to schools. So I think that when you're looking at relocating because of the schools, you can't really go wrong with either one of these areas. Now, I will say that the Forsyth County, they have more of that STEM program, different options, newer programs of what sometimes parents are looking for the kids. I know, Amber, that was one of the main reasons we moved here was because of the school districts. We have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old going on 21 and 18, but the schooling is everything for us. We come from a West Coast state where maybe school wasn't as important or wasn't, not as important, but it wasn't, well, what's the word I'm looking for?
Our funding just wasn't there. They weren't able to put enough into the schools. Our teacher to student ratio had really declined, and we found that here in Alpharetta and Cumming, the student to teacher ratio is very similar. And like Robert said, all these STEM programs that we were lacking, there's a lot of AP classes when you get to those high school levels, so kids are coming out with college credits already done. So this client of ours was asking, what city should I choose based off of schools? And we had to tell them, honestly, it would just depend what your daughter is interested in, because you can't go wrong with the schools in either one of these cities.
And there's really a lot of different career pathways when it comes to these schools. So sometimes, you know, kids at an early age want to be a pilot, or they want to be a chef, or what have you. These high schools already have that design within the school, so it helps kind of be a gateway or a leadway into their career path to what they're looking to do, which I think is great, because when we were in school, I'm not going to say how long ago that was, but when we were in school, they didn't really have that. It was just, hey, make sure you do well in school, make sure you go to college, make sure you work hard. But now you apply all those things, and then on top of that, you have a career path that's designed for what your child is interested in. And we find that super important. Now, the taxes, you would think here in Forsyth County and Fulton County would be extremely high because these schools are, you know, top ranked. They're not, and we're going to talk about that shortly, but I think that's one of the great things. There's great public schools and there's fantastic private schools. So you have the option as a parent to kind of decide on where you want to go. Now, I do know for a fact in Forsyth County, I'm not sure about Fulton County, that if you want your child to go to a different high school because it has a different career learning path, you don't necessarily have to live in that zone area. You can actually have your child transfer to one of these high schools within the county. You just have to provide your own transportation. So the school buses and stuff like that won't be picking up your child. but I just think that's a fantastic option versus being forced into buying in an area that may be more expensive because there's a higher demand. Here, you can be in a lower cost of living and still allow your child to attend the best school that matches what they're looking for. Fulton County and Forsyth County are pretty reasonable when it comes to the taxes. I would say Forsyth County's got the edge when it comes to lower taxes. Both are under 1.5%, probably more or less under 1.25%. And that's based on your purchase price. So it's pretty reasonable on the taxes and what you get. And it's not that the roads are crap, or obviously we talked about the schools being junk or anything like that. You're in a fantastic area. So when I talk about taxes with clients who are looking to relocate, I would give it a score of 9 out of 10 because the secondary cost doesn't kill you when you buy these higher end homes that are $800,000, $900,000, even over $1 million. But at the same time, you still get a very good lifestyle as far as what the taxes offer you.
Yeah, when your mom came to visit and when my parents came to visit, they were actually so shocked at how beautiful everything was taken care of in both cities. There was no trash anywhere, all the landscaping was nice, and they just, like you said, commented on the roads. We came from an area where the roads were not well maintained, and they do a good job with your money keeping these cities nice and pretty. We're actually standing in one of the city centers now, and you can see how beautiful and well maintained it is around us. There's no trash, everything is well put together. So just, you get a very beautiful scenic area to live in, whether you're in Alpharetta or Cumming. This is very similar. The money is spent well, but like Rob said, it will be more expensive in Alpharetta because you're now Fulton County, and then the home prices are more expensive here. So, okay, you do have to think about that when you're thinking about your price points of what you want to spend on a home, because that is another cost that could increase. Would be your taxes here in Alpharetta are going to be more expensive than in Cumming.
Now, I do want to talk about on the next thing is the parks, because that is something that the taxes pay for.
Yes.
And both areas have great parks. But there is one thing that is shared between both Forsyth County and Fulton County when it comes to Alpharetta and Cumming. Amber, why don't you go ahead and take it away from there?
That's going to be Big Creek Greenway Trail. We touched on this a little bit earlier. This is, I think it's almost 25 miles now. They continue to extend it, but it runs from Alpharetta through Cumming and even veers a little into Johns Creek, a neighboring suburb. And it is a walking, biking, running trail. So if you are training for a half marathon, and a full, because it's almost reaching 32 miles. This is the place to be. We've done a bike ride on there with our kids. We did not do the full 26 miles because, people got hungry and tired and we had to stop. But it is great. It connects the cities, and both cities have similar vibes in the sense that there's a lot of outdoor activity, but then there's a huge difference in other vibes. And that's what we want to touch on here, because we know when you're looking to relocate, you don't only care about what your home looks like and the schools that your kids are going to, but you want something that's going to tailor to your lifestyle. And everybody's got a different lifestyle. So let's talk about the different lifestyles between the two cities, because they offer something very different. And we've had clients who forgot to mention these things, and then, they were like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that this one offered this and this did not. I'm so glad we talked to you about it, because we would have moved somewhere and would not have been as happy. So Rob, why don't you talk about the lifestyle in one of the cities and let them know?
We had a client that was moving from Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, and there's not many lakes out there other than Lake Havasu, at least for our knowledge. And one thing that they wanted was that lake life living, not because they owned a boat or not because they wanted to be on the water, but simply that's where they like to go on walks and hikes, was around water, because they didn't have it. Then when we showed them Lake Lanier and they got to see all the beautiful trees, they got to see all the trails, and that was just one of like 7 parks that we took them on day one, they fell in love. But then the funny thing is they bought in Alpharetta, and here's why. They found all these parks that were not on the lake and different styles of parks, like Willis Park out here in Alpharetta. They loved the vibe. They loved seeing all the things going on. It wasn't just a baseball field and a soccer field and a lacrosse field. There were so many small activities going on within Alpharetta, and it was walking distance from where they bought their home. So that lifestyle is super important to some people, and others it's not, and that's okay. But I would say that the taxes leaning into the parks and what you get with the parks, you're gonna get a fantastic lifestyle in both areas.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, Rob. There's a lot more mixed use development neighborhoods in Alpharetta than there is going to be in Cumming. So like Rob said, they found a place where the walkability was great. We are actually standing in one of the city centers now, and you can see there are townhomes and stuff right behind us, and these sit on top of all these little restaurants and shopping, which we're gonna also talk about the differences between the shopping in both areas. But they did not care about a yard. They did not want to have to maintain a big yard. And so there's going to be more options in Alpharetta that are going to be condos and townhomes with no yard to take care of, that are situated in the city center or over the Avalon, which is another big shopping center we'll talk about. So they were able to just drink their coffee on their balcony, watch people down below, and then able to walk out to everything they needed to do. So there's definitely a different vibe here when you're looking at those mixed-use developments. There's gonna be more options in Alpharetta than Cumming. And that's simply because this is a very big job hub in Alpharetta for tech jobs. So there are a lot of people that work here that can just walk to their offices, and they love that. They don't wanna have to sit, like we said, on that Georgia 400 and commute to Atlanta. They wanna be able to live and work all in the same section. So that is something that you'll see more of in Alpharetta than Cumming. But in Cumming, like Rob said, you do have the lake right there, and the outdoor activities are very family friendly. Everything that we do includes our kids and our dog, and we're able to do those things seamlessly in the town of Cumming because it's a slower paced lifestyle. You're not gonna have a lot of nightlife, but there's a ton of breweries that are family friendly, and they have outdoor space for the kids to play while you're grabbing, food trucks and beers with your friends. They've got live outdoor concerts that happen at the city center. Then we have a lot of festivals and parades that go on. So we just love that. There's something going on every weekend, car shows. I mean, there's an abundance of family friendly things to do. And they do have that in Alpharetta, but what they also have in Alpharetta is the nightlife.
Yep. They for sure have the nightlife. Earlier I talked about rooftop bars. I mean, I'm looking at one right now. Maybe you guys get to see what I'm looking at, but they have rooftop bars here in Alpharetta, which is really fun. So it's not just going out with your friends or your spouse. You can be going out with the coworkers, because here in Alpharetta, there are over 500 tech companies just locally here in Alpharetta. So earlier I mentioned, maybe if you're living in Alpharetta, you're driving down to Midtown, you're driving down to Atlanta, but chances are you might be working, especially if you're in that tech world, you might be working super close to home, yet you still get to enjoy the nightlife, the day life activities, the rooftop bars, the twinkling lights. As you can see right above us, you may not be able to see it, but there are lights going across from one place to another, which I think is super cool. It's definitely different vibe than you see in Cumming, Georgia. Cumming, Georgia, you're going to have homes that are on big pieces of land, big homes, sometimes on the lake, sometimes a small home by itself on a big piece of land. But you're not going to get what you see right here unless you're at the Cumming City Center. Now, the Cumming City Center is fantastic. We love going there. There are some fantastic restaurants, and we go there almost every Friday night because they have the music going, they have all that stuff. But if you're looking for live music and you love concerts, there's a Mayor's Bank Amphitheater that is here in Alpharetta, and people from all over Atlanta come here to enjoy the music, whether it's a cover band or a real band like, I don't know, Taylor Swift, let's say, although Taylor Swift's not coming to
She didn't
Alpharetta.
come, but Avril Lavigne came last summer. Yeah, a lot of national bands there.
Yeah, so you do get a lot of music, festive things going on in both Cumming and in Alpharetta, but I think to the point of what Amber was saying, it's just that lifestyle that you're looking for. It can be similar, but it can also be a little bit different. I was talking about the Cumming City Center, and there are so many things going on there with the music and the open parks, but you also have mixed-use development where they're building right there in the city center so people can enjoy what they enjoy here in Alpharetta, which is be able to go home from work, be able to do your thing, and then within 10 minutes walk down, go get some drinks, go get some dinner, listen to some music. So you're gonna be able to get that in both cities, but as we talked about, you're gonna be able to save a couple bucks when it comes to living in Cumming, Georgia. So if you are thinking about moving and you're looking for a budget-friendly area, Cumming, Georgia may be a better fit, but if you're looking for more of that day life, that nightlife activity, more of a trendier vibe, Alpharetta may be a better fit for you.
When it comes to shopping and dining, Alpharetta really shines in this area. They have two really big spots that everybody loves to go to. One of them is the Alpharetta City Center, where we've been walking around all morning, and they have a ton of little boutiques and really great hidden restaurants here. You're not gonna get your chain restaurants or your chain stores. You're gonna get little family-owned businesses that are just to die for. So they really outshine in this department. They're some of the best restaurants ranked throughout the city here. And then you can hop on over to the Avalon, which is like a city inside its own city. There are, I call it an outdoor mall. I don't know if there's a better term for it, but you have your high-end shops like Pottery Barn, Lululemon, there's a Tesla store. Of course, our kids always want to go in there, and the Apple store. But then around it, you've got coffee, restaurants, a movie theater. There's a really good candy store that the kids went into, and you got a coffee there that you liked. Can't remember the name, we went to so many places. And then on top of that, they have condos that you live right on top. So it's all, they call it one big walkable spot. But these are gonna be your higher end, luxurious shopping and dining compared to living in Cumming.
Yeah, Amber, tell me about the shopping in Cumming. What's that like?
So you're gonna have a lot of options there too. We have Marketplace Boulevard, which is just gonna be all the stuff you need for your everyday living. There's your Target, your Home Depot, all the big box stores right there, stuff you need for back to school and every other weekend when I'm sending you to Home Depot.
Number one Costco in the United States, by the way, from a customer service standpoint in Cumming, Georgia. So if you like Costco, that's gonna be a good place, but don't worry, there are Sam's Clubs all around anyways. So.
Yes. So you got your big box stores in Cumming, and then we also have the collection at Forsyth, which is a mini version of like the Avalon. It's an outdoor mall space as well that has our movie theater with some shopping around it, but it's gonna be more of your chain restaurants and chain stores. So there's a big difference between the shopping in the two areas, but once again, we talked about how close these two suburbs are. So you jump on 400 north or south and you can get to either one of these cities within about 15 minutes to do your shopping or find a restaurant to eat at. I mean, we've come for date night here in Alpharetta. It only takes us 20 minutes to get down here, and we're able to hit up one of our favorite restaurants that has, I wonder if you can see it behind me here. It's got a rooftop setting way up there, and you can see that you can sit out there and watch everybody down below. We can actually see our kids playing over in the greenery while we're up there. So those are my favorite things, some shopping and some dining. But you might be like Rob and not really care about shopping too much. What do you care about?
I mean, I'm wearing a shirt that my daughter bought me from Kohl's, and that's just how I wear my Converse, and yeah, that's just the way I roll. But if maybe you're not into the shopping scene, and that's okay. Maybe you're into golf or the outdoor activities like we are. There are so many places to go golfing, whether that's a neighbor's backyard, and yes, that's what I said, backyard golf. There's a lot of that going on in both Alpharetta and in Cumming, but there's also a lot of golf courses, whether they're private or public, which we love. Now, Georgia is the home of more professional golfers than any other state, so it goes to show golf is a big deal here, and that's because it's so pretty, it's so green. You have fantastic weather pretty much all year long, right? So we get 4 seasons. We get the fall, we get the winter, we get the spring, we get the summer. And that's obviously in both cities being north of Atlanta. But my point is that you get great weather to do outdoor activities, and golfing is just one of the many things that you can do. So if you're like me and you're sitting on the couch with your wife watching this video and you're like, hey, babe, I'm not really into the whole shopping thing. Well, maybe I'm speaking your language when it comes to the sports, because there are so many other things that are close by to Alpharetta and Cumming. So maybe you're into big football teams or baseball teams or basketball teams. All that is really close. Now, if you go to those games a lot, I would say Alpharetta might be a better choice for you, just because you're a little bit closer. You're probably about 40 minutes, 45 minutes down to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium where the Falcons play, or Truist Park where the Braves play. So you do have some major sporting activities close by, but here locally in Cumming and in Alpharetta, you have a lot of outdoor activities such as the golf and other small things. So if you don't like shopping, I don't blame you, because I really don't like it either.
So let's recap. There are a ton of similarities and differences between Alpharetta and Cumming, and it's all just gonna depend on your price point of the home that you're looking for and the lifestyle that you and your family choose. So if you're looking for a more luxurious and trendy vibe where you can walk to things, that's gonna bring you more to Alpharetta. If you're looking for a laid back,
lower lifestyle.
Yeah, there we go, because I can't even say it. Slower, family-friendly lifestyle and being close to the lake and maybe not having to worry about a big commute and a little bit lower price point, then you're gonna look for Cumming, Georgia. Once again, both amazing locations, great schools, and tons of amenities in both areas. So make sure you reach out to us.
I was gonna say, make sure you reach out to us because there are a lot of different pockets in both Cumming and in Alpharetta where maybe you wanna live in Alpharetta and you wanna be close to things and you don't wanna be as far north as Cumming. We can find a place in Alpharetta that might match your price point where you're looking for a single family home that's under 700,000. Or maybe you don't wanna worry about the land and you want a townhouse and you don't have a high price point and you wanna be in Alpharetta. We can find that too. Or maybe you're looking for a 2-acre lot and a big brand new construction where we can find that for you in Cumming, Georgia. So either way, make sure you reach out to your real estate duo. We get calls from people just like you every single day who are making that move from out of state, out of country, or even maybe a neighboring city. And we want to make sure that we can guide you in the right place. So give us a call. Phone number is on the screen below. Email us, call us any day, anytime. Until the next video, you guys take care. I'm hungry. I'm going to go to that brewery. I'm also thirsty, so I'm going to go do that. I'll see you guys later.